Hello everyone, Philip from Scan Unlimited, and I got a request to make a video about how to properly format your files before uploading it to Scan Unlimited. And so in this video we're going to go just basically focus exclusively on how to prep your files to be uploaded into Scan Unlimited. So the first thing we're going to go through is how to deal with the error when you upload a file that has too many lines, but when you check your file, you actually see that your file doesn't have more than the limit, 10,000 for free members and 100,000 for the unlimited members. So the reason that happens is, if we jump real quick to my example file, the reason that happens is, let's take for example this one. I'm going to jump to the bottom. This file has 11,182 lines, but depending on how your supplier saved the file, or even you, how you save the file, it might be putting essentially empty strings into these cells, and so it's causing Scan Unlimited to pick that up as a row. So all we have to do is remove any rows that we don't need. More commonly though, I see is something kind of like this, where like there's like a number going down maybe one of the columns like that, and Scan Unlimited can't really tell if you care about this data or not, because it sees data inside of these rows, so it's going to count that as rows that need to be processed. So you just want to clean up any rows that are below the data set that you're trying to delete. And it's very simple. All you do is come to the left here. You're going to click on the row where you want to start, not in the cell, but the row itself. So clicking on the number, and then you can either click and drag to select multiple rows, or a little trick is, after you click it, you would press Command Shift down, or if you're on Windows, you would do Control Shift down, I believe. That'll select everything below it, and then you just right click and say delete. Now it looks like nothing has happened because you still see these numbers, but actually that deleted all of those rows. So now you can save, so Command S or Control S, or you can go to File, Save, and now you should not have any issues uploading to Scan Unlimited and getting the too many lines error. So the next thing we're going to go over is clearing up the confusion in regards to the starting position parameter when you're uploading a file. But before we get into the next tip, if you could press the like button on this video, I'd really appreciate it. It helps out the channel and it helps us reach new sellers. So thanks so much for liking the video. So in this file, I on purpose put something at the top of this file saying product list, but clearly I don't actually care about processing this row here. My data really starts over here, or this is where my header is. But you actually don't have to delete any of this and clean it up. Scan Unlimited allows you to pick which row to start at. So let's go ahead and jump back into Scan Unlimited and upload this file. So you'll see here on the starting position parameter, you're going to see row 1, and then row 2 is this row right here. You might be wondering, where's all the blank rows? Scan Unlimited tries to deal with empty rows by removing them, because of course people complain about that error that we just talked about. So if it sees empty rows and it can identify it as an empty row, it gets rid of it. So in this case though, it sees row 1 and it just sees a blank cell followed by the name, or the product list word I put up here, phrase I put it here. It sees the product list phrase that I put up there. And then it removed all the empty rows that I could see. And then row 2 is where the actual header is. This is what you want to select. You want to select your header row here. And with that header row selected, you also want to ensure that you have file has headers checked off. It just says that, it's all that's saying is The row that you just selected is a header, and then the data starts after that. So for example, if you didn't care about choosing the header, you could choose row 3 and then unselect this. It essentially does the same thing. You're now it's scanning the starting position as well. Whereas if you click here, and this will make it skip this row. So instead of scanning row 3, it'll scan row 4 and 5 and etc. So the proper option would be to select row 2, file has headers, and then you are all set. Okay, next, let's talk about the scientific notation error. So if you upload a file and you see the error where it says that it detected scientific notation in your product ID column and that you need to format your column, this is what you need to do to fix it. So to force this to be scientific notation, so I can show you guys how to fix it, I'm just going to select a bunch of UPCs, go up here, change it to be scientific notation. Actually, I think it has to be clicked on. I'm not really sure, but here, we got some examples right here. So if you've got anything like this, where it has an E and then the plus sign, that's scientific notation. And most of the time, if your file is, if you're uploading an Excel file, not a CSV file, this will actually work. But if you ever see the error, it's because of how you're saving the file, or maybe without getting too complicated, if it was a CSV file and then you opened it in Excel and then saved it as an Excel file, it might never have been a proper UPC. So this is how you fix it as long as the value is preserved. So one way is just selecting the cells that you want to format and just right click and then say format cells, go to custom, and then here you'll type in 12 zeros if it's a UPC or 13 if it's an EAN. So I'm going to count it here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and there we go, it's fixed. This will upload into Scan Unlimited, no problem. Don't forget to save your file after you format. Now let's talk about in a situation where the scientific notation actually came from your supplier and it actually corrupted it. Let me show you how. I'm not going to recommend that you do this, but I'm just going to explain why a corrupted UPC is not, you can't recover it, and you'll need to go ask your supplier for a new file, a proper one, really, because they sent you a file that's not valid. So I'll show you how that ends up happening though. So if I change this back to scientific notation, let's make a note here. Let's actually copy this and put it over here. So that's what the value is supposed to be. So let's change this to a scientific notation, right? And let's save this as a CSV file. Right? Now, I'm going to close this file, and then I'm going to reopen it. You can already kind of see what the problem is here now. If you look here, do you see how the value has now been corrupted? It had all these other digits here, but because of the scientific notation, when it was saved as a CSV file, it actually destroyed all the data. It only has the first 2 digits, and then I guess it rounded the last one from a 2 to a 3 because of the 9 here. Hopefully that is making sense. And so that's the reason why sometimes if you ever talk to us in support, we'll say that you need to ask your vendor for another file that's not corrupted, because they probably had an Excel that wasn't scientific notation, then they saved it as a CSV. The last thing on my list on frequently asked questions when it comes to formatting and prepping your file to be uploaded into Scan Unlimited is when your results in the upload doesn't match the what you're looking at. And the most common thing, it's a silly one, but I can show you one reason why. It's a silly reason, but people do this all the time. So The thing with Scan Unlimited, there's an Excel file can have many sheets. A CSV file cannot, right? So when you upload an Excel file, Scan Unlimited picks the first sheet in your workbook. So in this case, we've been uploading this file and it uploads this and it processes this sheet. But let's just say I have this empty sheet right here. If I just move this over here to the first position and save the file, even if I save the file while looking at the first sheet, if I go over here and upload this file now, you're going to see that it says that the file is empty, but you're looking at it saying, no, it's not. This isn't empty. The reason is because it's looking at the first sheet. It thinks you want to scan the first sheet. This can get especially tricky if you get a file directly from the brand or vendor that you're buying from, and they have their data, but they have a sheet that's hidden like this. Now it looks like there's only one sheet, but in reality, if I right click and say unhide sheet 2, it's actually right here. So you also have to look for hidden sheets as well. So if you're ever seeing something where you're seeing it's empty when you upload, or the options that you get are not what you expect, then of course you gotta look for that first sheet. That's probably the reason for the issue. All right, so I hope that cleared up any questions you guys had about prepping and formatting a file before uploading it into Scan Unlimited. If you have any other questions, drop a comment here on this video, or even start a chat with us in app. We'll be happy to assist. If you don't mind, go ahead and press the like button. That really helps us out so that we can reach other sellers. And if you want to be notified with our newer videos as we post them, go ahead and press the subscribe button and enable the notifications. Thanks again, guys. Have a great day. See ya.